We're live, pal.
Welcome to the Sorry, here we go. Try it again. Hi. Welcome to the post-game show for the Wrestling Trivia Challenge here on the Greg Cherry brand and the Jeff Meacham Network. I am Jeff Meacham. He is Greg Cherry. He's your host. He's the champ. You know this. Dude, first thing I noticed off the bat, your match with Scott does not give Scott any justice at all, dude. He knows his stuff, and he is one snarky dude.
he is, yes.
I love it. Well, I love it.
He made up for that in spades when he took the Talkamania Trivomania Championship from me.
This is also true.
But I did we had like some kind of like Money in the Bank match over at Talkamania, and I actually beat him in that. So I'm a 2-1 against him. So but Scott, yes, does move on in the tournament to face Travis Fame. That match is actually already recorded. No spoilers.
Oh man.
But in other news, also Scott, this coming week, is participating in WWE's The Bump, Stump the Bump trivia contest.
Oh, he made it on there, did he?
He did, and you know what? I'm going to root for him the entire way.
Yeah, for sure.
Not only because we have history, but because it would be cool for somebody that we're familiar with, somebody we know, going on to have that kind of success.
And he does know his stuff very clearly. I mean, he pulled stuff out of his rear, like even stuff I didn't know, and stuff that I flat out answered and got completely 100% wrong during the course of that match. I mean, I was at SummerSlam 2012, and I swore up and down the IC title changed hands. It's like, no, it didn't. The US title did, but not the IC. So, and then I thought, okay, wait a minute, I'm thinking of the IC because of 2010, because that match got interrupted by the Nexus. So it kind of just, remember, those SummerSlams were 6 years all together. They all kind of blur in my head. So,
yeah, that stuff does happen. But
it does.
Like I said, Scott is moving on to face Travis Fame next week, or in the next round of the tournament. Next week, though.
Right. Yes, next week.
Next week, we conclude the first round of the tournament with no DQs. Colin Andrew going one-on-one with Wrestle Talks and former Quizlemania champion Louis Dangoor. That match you need to see. I mean, you need to see all the matches in this tournament,
right.
But that one you should check out because Louis Dangoor, I feel like Louis kind of flies under the radar.
Yeah.
As far as how much he knows, because Quizlemania, while there is like some wrestling trivia aspect to it, it's not completely wrestling trivia. We've discussed this before.
Right.
But it's more like an entertaining party game.
Yeah.
Like straight up wrestling trivia.
Right.
Which I'm sure Adam and Louis, having been involved in this tournament, will tell you the same thing.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely been interesting to see it all play out because, like you said, a lot of these guys don't do just straight wrestling trivia. They kind of bounce all over the place, and to see them come together in this form and actually compete with strictly wrestling, it's out of their element. And also, we've had people come on that, like you said, fly under the radar. This Louis kid, he's a kid. I think he's still like a young teenager, if I'm not mistaken. So
he's 20 years old.
Oh, okay. He's not. So
he's the second youngest person in this tournament behind Matthew Rosa.
Yeah, and again, I said it when Matt's match was on. I've been watching this stuff longer than these kids have been alive.
Mm-hmm.
And they still know stuff I couldn't even dream of remembering off the top of my head, like I used to back in my prime as trivia champion. It astounds me, and I'm so grateful to be just a small part of a big deal, as Pete Rose said back in 2004. It's and today especially because you probably can't tell I'm trying to make it all nice sounding, but I've had a rough week health wise, and just to see that stuff like that perks me up. Like stuff like seeing the spirit of competition, and quite frankly, if I'm the dude, if I'm the guy that Scott beat just now, I'm a little bit annoyed how he came off, because Scott came off like a real prick there. He really, I mean, he's not, and Scott's not a prick at all, but he came off very full of his own shit. So it was very entertaining to see. Not necessarily a character, but the personality really come out of the guy, because he really didn't get a chance to do that against you because it's you. I'll be very interested to see if he makes it all the way to the end of the tournament, wins the tournament, and then has a rematch against you in this live format under your gun. Because under the gun, also he's done really well. He, like you said, he beat you straight up, once before. So to see him come back and be under the Wrestling Trivia Challenge microscope will be very interesting. But again, like you said, he has to get past whoever he beats in the second round. If he does beat that guy in the second round, whoever he faces in the rounds beyond, and we have to see how far other people go, because you really don't know what's going to happen. I have said all tournament, I'm flabbergasted how much these guys know. So I don't know what's going to happen next round. I'm very curious, though.
There's a part of me, as this tournament goes along, that's a little selfishly hoping, especially after he's entered into the WWE trivia tournament, that Scott actually goes on and wins that entire tournament, right, and becomes champion. Because if he won that tournament and this tournament, it would be the No DQ Wrestling Trivia Champion against the WWE Trivia Champion.
Oh my goodness.
The build for that would be incredible.
Indescribable, I think, would be a good word for it, because how long have we joked for years about you or me or Mikey, recruiting Howard Finkel onto this show because of Howard's knowledge back when he was still the WWE stat guy? That would pretty much be what it would be. We'd have the closest thing to you facing the WWE's chief trivia expert. Mm-hmm. So my promoter and producer side is just freaking salivating at that opportunity to do that. So, and granted, that means I have to come up with the 22 damnedest questions in the history of the show. Let's not kid ourselves, because I got to make sure I stump both of you guys as best I can, but I'll still not make it look like a complete washout. So that's where the pressure comes in on me at that point, because now I really have to make sure I know what you've used, what you haven't used, what you know, kind of take tabs on what you guys don't know, and see what I can do. We said it all season. Throw an AW question at me, forget it. I'm dead. That's it. I'm meat. Good night. That's it. Because I don't, for some reason, I don't retain the recent stuff. It doesn't stick in my head. And I think that maybe because I'm so not disenchanted with the current product on both shows, but just like I basically just watch them for work at this point. So they don't commit to memory like the Attitude Era, the Golden Era. It's just kind of there for me.
I figure, speaking of, people in this tournament that I wouldn't mind winning, Adam Blampier is the same way. That's his job for Wrestle Talk. He does all that stuff. And because it's work related, it kind of leaves your brain shortly after. Now, he did defeat Hunter Chambliss in the first round.
Right.
I think he's going to have a little bit tougher time doing that against somebody a little bit more seasoned like a Michael Turner. Things have shocked me in this tournament so far. I honestly, if I would have filled out a bracket, I probably would have gotten several wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
Brackets are not my thing, because there is just so many factors that you don't consider. The order of the questions that we randomize at the end of every show.
Yep.
Before every show, I don't do a flip a coin. A little bit behind the scenes here, I do pick a number 1 to 100. Whoever is the closest number gets to go first. So that all has some kind of factor. I don't know who's getting what questions when we start.
Right.
So once I put them in the randomizer, I put them ready to go on screen, they're set.
Yep. Yeah.
So I don't touch those questions. So whoever gets first, they get the odd questions. Second person gets even questions, and we go from there.
Yeah, people always thought I was lobbing them up for you. It's like, no, dude, I freaking spun that proverbial wheel of doom, put those 22 questions over there, and then whatever the chips fell, they fell. What it was. So, and luckily you've had the foresight now that you're doing StreamYard with your stuff. You've put the questions in the queue already ready to go. So there's proof that they were already there as you're taping. You can't just do it, off the top of your head like I was doing, which is, not the way to go. You don't want to sit there and read it and not have proof that that's what you're reading, because it's a very dangerous line to tread. So
it is. And it's nice that I also have them in numerical order. I'm sure whenever you look through the banners and stuff, you can actually see how I have it set up. Right. Skip questions at the bottom, the 20 questions. in the
Yep.
order that they asked
Yeah.
and all.
Yeah, that's how I would generally do it. I would have it on a Google document and have 1 through 20 with the answers, and then skip 1 and skip 2, and then if tiebreaker was necessary, I would have the tiebreaker list queued up and go, okay, if they got name off, they got name off. That's how it works. Because that, I don't know if the original concept I had for the tie-breaking thing was I was going to have you do what Aaron did. I think you may have done it too, is list people who have held such and such title off, and just until somebody missed, and then somebody got the one afterwards. Because that was the simplistic way to go when we were doing this over the last 4 years. So it made the most sense to me.
Josh Manfield says, you versus Adam would be beautiful to see. I would like to see it. Quite frankly, I would destroy him. Adam's such a great person. I've loved so much him.
Yeah.
He's been so good to helping out with everything and dealing with him with the fan Quizlemania stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's been wonderful. He's been wonderful to work with.
Yeah,
but the fact is, if it came down to a trivia battle between me and him, let's be honest. I've held on to this thing for it'll be 3 years in just a couple weeks.
Yep.
So it's hard for me to say that but then again, there could be questions that Jeff comes up with that I have no clue about. If you watched that season at all, there were some curveball, spitball, whatever you want to throw at me. It's like I have no clue whatsoever. So it could be one of those things, and Adam could just pull rabbits out of the hat and
swoop on in. Yep, that's it.
Again, it's the same thing with the tournament. You don't know who's going to win, and that's an exciting point when you watch this thing. You don't know who's going to win. No,
and what's good about your approach to the tournament is, unlike mine, you've got your questions already picked out, and you just take 22 at a time. And that's, it's really what I mean, the skip ones obviously are separate because they're from JB3, the devil himself. But, the 20 you pick out, again, like you said, you randomize them every show. So it's not like you have 1 through, however many questions, or 200 or whatever it is, and you're just going 1 through 20, next one. That's too easy. And it makes for lack of randomness, which I think a huge part of this presentation on any format of WTC that we've had is the randomness. Like, you don't know anything about what's coming until that question's either on the board in front of you or you hear it in front of you for the first time. It's again, I've said it every single week for 4 years. You don't know what it's like to be in the hot seat until your biscuits are burning in that chair, waiting for the question to come down, waiting for Greg to read the score at the end, any of that. It's very, very nerve-wracking. Very, very nerve-wracking. So,
and when you start a show, having been in the seat, how many freaking times have I sat in one of these seats doing a trivia match? Not just here, even.
No.
But the very first question, when you hear it, could set the tone for the entire thing. Like, it could throw you off completely, or it could get you into a rhythm. It just really depends. Because when you took the title from me about 4 years ago, the first question I got, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But it was. And I felt like it kind of screwed me for the rest of the show because I got in my head. Because facing Tom Brady, you can't make a mistake.
Yep.
And making a mistake against you or somebody making a mistake against me, you're very rarely, if ever, going to come back from that.
And it's funny, we both talked about this. The cockiness we drew out of ourselves in our reigns as champion. Early on, you went into the rematch after whatever was that summer, whatever it was, the few weeks we took off after you beat me. You went in there full of piss and vinegar, like, I got this. Your nose was up here. Aaron reads question 1, and you can almost see your body just go, oh shit.
Yep.
Like, you knew right away. It's like, oh, it's gonna be one of those shows. Got it.
And the sad thing is, it was one I should have known.
Right? Yeah, it was.
It was like nothing I was preparing for, and I just
and that is, and I noticed that with any form. And Colin, thank you. We're looking forward to your show next week, brother. Looking forward to having your match go over the air, man. Like I said, Colin's match was fun to work with. That was the only match in this tournament so far I got to keep score. So it was cool to be a part of that in the moment. So you guys will see what happens next week when it unfolds. Part of this I was talking about something else. I lost train of thought with what Colin said. I've just noticed that I like the notoriety that comes with this much knowledge, but at the same time, I don't have really. I kind of see where it's a blessing and a curse, because once you are that guy where you know everything in the fans' eyes, you have to know everything in the fans' eyes, and if you don't know that, they look at you like, why? Why don't you know that? You should know that. You're this guy.
Now there's the thing is, there's such a thing called knowledge gaps. There are things blatantly obvious to so many wrestling fans that would escape both of us.
Yep.
It's like, we had no idea. It's like, oh yeah, it's like some very niche things, like who came in and like helped Paul Orndorff become Mr. Wonderful again in WCW. I think I threw that question to you and Rift like season 2.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was such a niche thing that's like, who the heck would know that unless they've watched it like 10, 15 times.
Right. And it's like, you're counting on both of Aaron and I not remembering the first year of Nitro in that moment. Because that's really what it came down to. Because before Memorial Day 96, Nitro was doing good, doing well with ratings against Raw, but they were going back and forth. Yeah. Once Scott Hall showed up, everything changed. But yeah, I remembered very well that Paul lost his wonderfulness. He was not himself for a long time. From what I did find out later, after you asked us that question, I went back into my research. The original plan was to have him get his swag back and then throw these up. But he got hurt. So they went with Benoit instead. Which is why they had the Horseman drop Orndorff, because he had to be written off television until he could either A, get his system fixed, or B, retire. So, since he couldn't be a Horseman, have the Horseman drop him.
Yeah.
It totally worked in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, man, I also think about if Paul had been in the Benoit role and then Pillman bailed, man, what would happen to the Horseman? It would have been, could they have waited it out with Mongo like they did in real time? Could they have waited from February to June for Mongo to join up with the Orndorff included Horseman? I don't know if it would have worked out long term. Interesting to think about.
So Josh is a little bit younger than both of us, probably.
Right.
And he says, I've never watched WCW or ECW, so I would have been screwed on those questions. Tell you what, ECW and sometimes WCW screw me up too.
Yeah.
I need to get better about watching original ECW, it seems very tough because the last run programs for both of those about 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Let me see if I still have the thing here. I think it's over here still for reference purposes. That's not the right one. Hang on. Where did I put it? Crap. Okay. I don't know if you saw my recent streams after I found my Blockbuster membership card. I put that up there. What I didn't fail to realize until I actually was talking about it, that card was issued to me on January 7th, 2001.
Wow.
So I was working at Blockbuster the day the final ECW pay-per-view aired.
There you go.
Like, that's how old I am. That's how far back my first job goes. That's how far back my pre-war end fandom goes. I was at work, probably playing an ECW show on the TV and the monitor in the store, just because that's what I did back when I was working there. But yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, see, Josh is 24 on Good Friday this year. Greg and I are both in our 30s. I'm turning 38 in 4 days. Anyway,
I am. Yeah, I've counted weight. Like Jen cut my hair the other day, and I saw I saw way too much gray for my liking.
Right? Oh man, that's the worst. The worst for me is when I shave my beard when I'm going to like do like a special edition of the shows or whatever, and I have to look somewhat decent. I shave my beard. It's like that's a lot of gray coming off my face. I am not okay with this.
Yeah. But I know you got to get prepared. I think you're on the review, correct?
I am. We're gonna be. Well, I'm waiting for the review link to come through right now, actually. So, okay. But you know what? I told Aaron we go as quickly as possible, but we did want to make sure we covered this match because it seemed lopsided in watchback, but actually it was a pretty decent match.
Yeah, it was not the most lopsided match of the tournament by any stretch of the imagination. And matches going forward, they're going to be a lot closer because you figure the more people know, it's going to be tighter matches, which that's what you want to see. You want to see the best of the best get the shot at this. And it's making me nervous. It's making me nervous who's left.
Yeah.
Which one I'm going to have to face. But that is weeks down the road, thankfully for me. I have plenty of time to get ready for whoever I end up facing. It could be Scott Gata. It could very well be Scott Gata, who could be WWE Trivia Champion by that point. Which, honestly, if we got to say no DQ Trivia Champion versus WWE Trivia Champion and have that sanctioned match,
shit out of that. Are you kidding me? Oh my god!
Yeah, it would be so fantastic, and maybe it would. I almost feel like it would be a shot to WWE's brand if I ended up winning that one.
Right? Yeah.
But it'd be like, you had the WWE Trivia Champion. You could have had me, but guess what? I beat your guy. But again, Scott has to make it that far. He has to make it that far in the other tournament too. We will be rooting Scott on.
For sure. For sure.
In the WWE Trivia Tournament, I am all in on Scott Gata.
Yep, as am I.
Putting that out there.
That's right.
But when it comes to this, of course, you know who I'm betting on.
Dude, if Scott does indeed make it and he's our representative in the WWE thing and he actually wins the thing, there's got to be a Teespring shirt for him, man. We got to do something.
We will figure something out. I'm sure he would come up with his own merch. Like, I don't want to.
Right.
But again, I think I tossed around the idea of potentially doing like a live watch along of the bump whenever they did the trivia segments. Just to see how I would do, because Scott kind of broke down the idea of it. It's kind of like a fast money deal with trivia questions.
Oh, okay.
So it would basically be how many trivia questions can you get in 60 seconds?
Very much lightning round style. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So from what I understand, like that's how that works. I feel since it's strictly WWE trivia, I would be fine.
Right. But
I want to see how well I would have done against whoever's participating.
Well, but like we've talked about with this, W Trivia now means ECW, WCW, AWA because they're all under the same umbrella now. So
they may be under the umbrella, but they may just stick to strictly WWE stuff.
Right? They could. Yeah.
It's perfectly fine with me. Like
right.
That I could handle all day.
Right.
But Wednesday, I might do it. I'm not sure if I want to do it yet. I'll sleep on it for the next couple of days and be like, you know what?
Right.
I'm going to turn the bump on at 10 o'clock. I'm going to watch along with you guys and before the Greg Cherry show. And we'll stop after the trivia segment. Like they're not going to make that the main event. They're going to put that like middle of the road somewhere. It's like after the trivia segment, I want to do it and I want to see how well I do. I'm going to keep track of everything, do stats and be like, hey, would I have beat this person? Would I not have beat this person? It really depends.
Yep, it does. Well, I will say this. I will look forward to watching it with you. If you do the watch along, that'd be great. I do, however, need to get off of this because it is that time. Thank you all for putting up with me all week on my network here with my absence or whatever. The next time you guys see me live, 20 years ago today, by the way, it was No Way Out 2001, Josh.
Yep. Main evented by Stone Cold and Triple H. And
3 stages of hell.
3 stages of hell, yep.
The next time you guys see me live on my network and on the Greg Cherry brand will be my birthday, Monday afternoon. So we'll see you guys then. Yay me. So for the champ, I am the professor. We will see you guys next time for another edition of the NerdQ.com Wrestling Trivia Challenge.